Hello everyone, in today's video we're going to take a look at programming flight plans and kind of getting around a little bit using the GTN 750. So again, like I was saying, you can get this as a free add-on. There is a cool premium version which has a lot of bells and whistles, but that's for another day. So the first thing I want to do is actually get everything kind of set up and ready to go. So what I'm going to do is you can either from the map use the direct to waypoint, or if you prefer, if you go back up to the main menu, you can come down to the flight plan option. Now the first thing we want to do is we want to go ahead and define what our origin is. So we're up here at Kilo Delta X-Ray Romeo, which is a Danbury Municipal. Terrifying approach to one of the runways, by the way. Press enter, and now we just go ahead and define our destination. For example, let's say we're going out to, we'll go out to Groton today. So let's say the particular waypoint, type it in. Again, you can even type in find if you need. This is something the real one has and the fast find has. We don't have that in this version. That's a shame, but it still works pretty well for us. And then you can see we have our little place. Now, let's say we want to go in a specific way. Let's say I want to add a waypoint. We'll add, let's say, Hartford VOR like that. And of course, it's going to give you the choice. We want Hartford VSA like that. And now you can see this little magenta line now says we're going from there to there. Let's, make it a little interesting too. We'll add ourselves another en route waypoint. We'll just go to Norwalk as well. Oh, that looks pretty good, and you can see it automatically calculates things. Do you also notice that the altitude has an option? Now, unfortunately, we can't set this in this plane, but this would be for where your VNAV stuff kind of kicks in. Like I said, we don't have the ability to do that, which is such a shame, but again, it's not too bad. So now we have our basic flight plan ready to go. Now, what's super cool about this is, let's say Newark, you know what? I really wish this came before Hartford. So we can actually come in here, we could retype this with a particular waypoint before. The other thing you can do, of course, is sneak in here and you can activate the leg. It's going to say, do you want me to do this? Sure. Now notice we're going from Hartford to Norwich here. Now I say, oh shoot, I didn't mean to do that. Oh no, what do I do? Oh, I broke it all. So now you're going to have to go ahead and say, well, how do I get to a different leg from the previous leg? I could come down here and say, activate this leg. Or I could come down here and say activate this leg, and whoosh, we are right back. Remember, always click the second leg is the one that you want to activate. In this case, it's going to take us right to Hartford. And then I'm sitting there going, you know what, I don't really want to go there. I'm just going to remove this because it's just a lot of extra flying. And that looks pretty good. We have ourselves a really, really solid flight plan pretty much right away. So now if I wanted to, I could actually come down here. If I click on Groton, you'll have these abilities to pick your procedure. So now coming down here, let's say we want to do approach procedure. Let's see what approach we're going to use today. We'll say we're going to use ILS runway 5, and we're going to use the Hampton as far as the transition goes. And look at this, load approach. Whoosh. Just like that, I now have all the different parts of my approach completely loaded into my flight plan ready to go before I even do anything. Now, of course, I could come in here and say, just kidding. Whoosh, it's gone. No crashes, no issues, nothing. So now I'm just going to add myself a new point. Let's say we're going to Hartford instead. Press enter, and now you can see that it's all out of whack here. So now the only way we're going to fix this is to go ahead and remove this. And of course, now you want to go ahead and play around with, whoa, go back, cancel, cancel, cancel. And now, of course, you can go ahead and control it any which way you want. So I'm going to insert something after. I'm simply going to type in my new waypoint, enter, and you can see now that we've added that waypoint to the back. Of course, if I wanted to, since this is an airport, we can come in here, we can load things. And normally what you do is you have your waypoint info where you can come in here getting a preview of the runway. In the real world, you actually get the lines. They don't give us the lines, it's lame. You could get all the procedures, like if I want RNAV 2, it'll load up all those details for you directly so you can exactly predict exactly what you want. Again, this is so amazing that you even have this device. We can look at the individual runways. That runway never gets used, ignore. There we go, there's the runway we always use. And you can see the details of our size, stuff. You've got frequencies. Now watch this. You see how it saved that frequency into there for me? Isn't that amazing? Wix data, we're not going to get any weather. Notices to airmen, we're not going to get that. Nearest VRPs, again, we're not going to get any of those details otherwise. But look at how amazingly simple it is to actually look at all this. It'll actually tell you what fuel you have in time zone. For us, though, we're not going to have anything fun like that. So we've got our little flight plan. I think this is probably a little out of whack here. We can come in here. We can move that waypoint if we want. Of course, we can come in here again. We can say, give me a waypoint after. Think about how much work this was to do with a conventional GPS. We'll pick that one there. So now we'll go via the Hartford VOR, for example, instead of it. And again, absolutely wonderful tool. So now if we go back over to the map mode, you'll see that we've got this handy-dandy little magenta line here. By the way, clicking and dragging lets you go around the map. And I'm just going to press out, 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 out. And you can see a nice little preview of our little flight plan here. It's actually a lot shorter distance than it looks. Of course, and when we do something like this, and we're like, oh no, what have we done? Just press the back button, and it'll snap you right back to where you started. Other things you want to watch out for is at the bottom. Obviously, VLOC means we're taking information from our VOR as opposed to our GPS. You can just bop the CDI button. You can see that instantly updates this one here. And obviously, OBS simply says suspend. If you're doing some kind of instrument approach and you want to go ahead and suspend the ILS routing, you can press that button, and it's just going to give you this beautiful little line that you're going to follow along that's not actually going to have it. I'm going to disable the suspend because we don't need it. So that's going to be basically how you're going to set up any sort of navigation. Now it's simply a matter of getting into the airplane, getting a little bit of altitude, and actually trying to fly it. All right, we've got ourselves a little bit of altitude, and we're on course. I'm going to go ahead and flip on the automatic pilot real quick, just to kind of have it hang on to things for us. This is how we kind of fits around with our settings a little bit more. Now remember, in order for the navigation autopilot to work in this plane or in your plane, you need to absolutely make sure the CDI is selected to GPS mode. Now that we've got ourselves a little bit of altitude, we can play with some of the other functionality here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and press the back button. It's going to take us over here. And normally you'd have this beautiful weather control. Oh, we don't have any of that. What a bummer. But we do have things like approach. We have the ability to see nearest stuff. For example, I need to get myself, give me the nearest NDB. Yeah, that's not going to have a lot of, oh, there we go. So we have MMK. This isn't actually a real one, but if we wanted to use it, we could actually take this frequency here and come over to our ADF rating, and we can actually dial that in. So we could do 238, 238, 238, and now, of course, if we're able to pick it up at the distance that we are, we'd actually be able to see that exactly. Now, if we come back here, of course, you can pick things like, give me the most intersections, you can give us VOR. Keep in mind, this is a heck of an algorithm to run to actually scan these things, but you can see we've got a couple of VORs. We've got a Pauling VOR, which is kind of off our nose there, which we could definitely head towards if we were looking to kind of do something along those lines. Again, it's an absolutely magnificent tool for the purposes of trying to figure out where you are and what you need to do. You know, if we got an emergency, for example, that said, we need to immediately land this airplane. It's like, what do I do? Nearest airplane, okay, looks like Danbury's the closest. Let's say we wanted to go to Waterbury, Oxford. We could actually come in here, and we could actually press the direct button, and it'll actually activate it. Look at this. And now we instantly select Waterbury, Oxford as our next waypoint. How is that for being able to, in an emergency situation, quickly go ahead and dial in a new runway? So, again, if I'll show that to you again real quick in case you missed it. Let's say I come in here. Let's say I'm doing VOR. Let's say I want to do BDR. Again, you just press the direct button, and it'll actually save it. Now, check this out. You can actually add it to your flight plan as well. So if I wanted to, I could come down here, and I'll pop that one, and it'll pop that one as well. But if we want to go to the one that I just called up moments ago, just click on it. Let's go back. BDR, direct. And now you can go ahead and select activate. Again, if I push that, it's going to take us on this crazy course over in this direction. It's going to take us over towards Bridgeport. Again, if we wanted to modify that flight plan, if we did that by accident, we can always go back to our main page, flight plan, and we just kind of go ahead and get rid of the one that we don't need. As I always like to say, one of these is not like the others. Activate leg, boop, and look at that. Now we are right back on course the way we were. We'll head back to the main menu to show you. And you can see it's going to come swinging us around that way. Of course, my poor airplane is dying here a little bit because we don't have an altitude hold on this particular version, so you're having a little bit of trouble. Again, this is going to work the same way in the Cessna. The only difference is instead of having the big screen, you're going to have like a little half screen kind of here in the middle. Hopefully this video is helpful as far as playing with the GTN 750 goes. I find this an amazing piece of machinery as far as avionics goes. We have an aircraft that has half of one of these, the little 650 version, and it's so handy to have. Hopefully everybody enjoys. Otherwise, I will see you guys later. Enjoy.